Right now, your brain is making a decision it makes thousands of times a day, and most of the time, it already knows the answer before you do. Why do we choose the couch over the climb, the scroll over the sprint, the familiar over the new, even when we know better? Your brain isn't lazy, it's a prediction machine, constantly calculating the safest, most efficient path forward. And safety usually means staying put. Think of that goal you set in January and quietly abandoned by February. That wasn't a failure of willpower. It was your wiring doing exactly its job. Today, we're going inside the brain to meet 3 systems shaping this pull toward comfort and how you can work with them, not against them. 200,000 years ago, choosing the familiar fire over the unknown forest wasn't laziness. It was often the difference between living and dying. But here's the twist. The very instinct that once kept us alive can quietly build a comfortable cage, one we forget is even open. Deep inside you, a constant process called homeostasis works to keep everything balanced: temperature, energy, hunger, even your sense of safety. Picture your brain as a thermostat, endlessly adjusting to hold everything steady, and steady to your brain feels like success. Meet the amygdala, your brain's alarm bell, scanning every moment for anything that might signal danger. Here's the catch. Your amygdala can't always tell the difference between real danger and something simply unfamiliar. Deeper still sits the basal ganglia, the region responsible for turning repeated actions into automatic habits. Every time you repeat a behavior, that neural pathway strengthens, like a forest trail slowly widening into a paved highway. Your brain burns roughly 20% of your body's energy, so it constantly looks for the cheapest, most efficient route, familiar ones. Early humans who avoided unnecessary risks tended to survive longer and pass on their genes, including this very cautious instinct. Fast forward to today, that same instinct now drives you to scroll one more notification instead of closing the app. It's the same wiring behind reaching for fast food or delaying that hard task. Comfort disguised as 1,000 small choices. Dopamine isn't just about pleasure. It's your brain predicting reward before an outcome even happens, nudging you toward the sure thing. Inside your skull, a quiet tug-of-war plays out constantly between your rational prefrontal cortex and your emotional limbic system. Face something unfamiliar, and cortisol, your stress hormone, spikes almost instantly, even when there's no real threat at all. Psychologist Carol Dweck found something remarkable. People who believed their abilities could grow persisted longer through discomfort than those who didn't. That belief isn't just motivational. It reflects a real biological process called neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to physically rewire itself. Scientists call it the Yerkes-Dodson law. A little pressure sharpens performance, but too much or too little holds you back. Every habit follows a simple loop. A cue triggers a routine, which delivers a reward, and the loop repeats itself. Small, repeated challenges, even tiny ones, compound over time into genuinely rewired, stronger neural pathways. Comfort isn't only personal, it's social too. For most of human history, staying with the group meant staying alive. Modern platforms understand this instinct intimately, engineering autoplay, endless feeds, and notifications to keep your brain exactly where it's comfortable. But there's a crucial difference between comfort and complacency. One restores you, the other quietly stalls you. Comfort is like an iceberg. The cozy part you see keeps you safe, while the much larger hidden mass can keep you stuck. Yet look at elite athletes and founders. The ones who leaned directly into discomfort are often the ones who transformed the most. Discomfort, it turns out, isn't the obstacle to growth. It's frequently the actual mechanism that produces it. Part of the resistance comes from negativity bias. Your brain weighs potential threats far more heavily than potential rewards.
Stay too comfortable too long, and your brain drifts into its default mode network. Pleasant, but often unproductive. Practicing delayed gratification, a kind of dopamine reset, can retrain your brain to tolerate discomfort long enough to grow. In exposure therapy, patients face a feared trigger gradually and repeatedly, and over time, their brain's alarm response measurably quiets down. The goal was never to defeat your brain's comfort-seeking wiring. It's to gently guide it toward new definitions of safe. Let's recap. The amygdala flags threats, the basal ganglia automates habits, and dopamine predicts rewards. Together, they form your comfort machinery. Here's the real lesson. Comfort itself was never your enemy. It kept your ancestors alive, and it still restores you today. The actual danger isn't seeking comfort. It's staying anchored in the same harbor long after it stopped serving you. Try this, the 1% discomfort challenge. One small, uncomfortable action daily, just enough to nudge your pathways without overwhelming them. Next time fear shows up, ask your brain a different question. Is this real danger or simply unfamiliar data? Build a new habit loop on purpose, a cue that prompts a brave action, followed by a reward that reinforces growth. Muscles need resistance to grow stronger, and your brain works remarkably the same way. Challenge is the mechanism, not the enemy. As neuroscience advances, resilience itself is becoming something trainable, a skill you can deliberately build over a lifetime. Every rewired pathway in your brain began with one small, uncomfortable choice. Nothing more dramatic than that. So here's the real question this documentary was always building toward. What will you choose the next time comfort calls? Remember that fork in the road from the very beginning? It was never really about the couch or the climb. It was about which one you can return to on your own terms. If this changed how you see your own choices, subscribe for more science-backed stories about the mind, and we'll see you in the next one.